Have you ever wondered if substance abuse treatment programs really work? I mean, are they really helping people? Do people really get substance abuse free just by attending treatment programs? Well, come back and watch the video. I have some stuff that I pulled off the internet from various sources, plus some of my own experiences that I want to share in this next episode of Overcoming Addiction. There is a saying that I have on one of my walls that goes, passion provides drive and determination. And I'm sharing that because drive and determination is usually what it takes to complete anything in life. So to the question, do substance abuse treatment programs work? Well, as I said, I have a few things that I put together along with some of my own thoughts on this topic, and I'm going to share them with you right now. Again, do substance abuse treatment programs work? The core components of substance abuse treatment programs might offer practical support for people grappling with addiction. These typically include counseling, both individual and group, medication management, medical care, and peer support. Programs also emphasize relapse prevention strategies and may provide assistance with legal, employment, or housing issues. Following treatment, aftercare programs help maintain sobriety and support recovery. Success rates for substance abuse programs can vary. They vary widely depending on the type of treatment, the specific substance involved, and individual factors like personal motivation and support systems. Generally, longer-term programs tend to have high success rates, but it's hard to pin down a specific percentage due to the variability in studies and methodologies. Entering a treatment program can be like navigating an obstacle course. In my second book called The Pressures of Addiction, Finding a Way Out, I described my experience in locating a program that helped me with my substance abuse. And this process began for me in 1989. And between 1989 and 2011, I made 3 attempts to enter a program. I entered the first one in 1989 out of necessity because at the time it was the only way I would be able to keep my job. The fact that I had insurance from that job made it easier for me to enter a program. This program offered all the things that I mentioned earlier, but it was only a 28-day program, and that was because the wisdom was at the time was that it only takes 28 days to develop a habit, so it should take 28 days to break a habit. But because of my motivation, which like I said was just to save my job, this treatment program, it was doomed to fail from the start. The second one was a bit more difficult to enter because I had no income, and the only insurance I had was state issued insurance. Once I did manage to get in, I realized that the only treatment strategy they offered was group counseling. This was about 6 years after my first attempt at getting treatment. But quitting heroin cold turkey was not something I could do at this point because by now I had been an addict for over 10 years. So after 3 full days of feeling like I was gonna die trying to go through this program where they only offered group therapy, I ended up back on the street. After leaving that program, I got under the impression that the type of insurance one had increases the chance of recovering. But as I eventually discovered, it wasn't about the type of insurance I had. It was more about the type of motivation and desire or determination that I didn't have. So after experiencing failures in my first two efforts to address my addiction, I faced the possibility of being an addict for the rest of my life. I started to get comfortable in my addiction. It was like being sentenced to prison and deciding to decorate my jail cell to make myself more comfortable. But deep down inside, I was miserable. Something inside of me was driving me to seek change, and I knew that if I continued to resist that something, I was not going to live long enough to see the rest of my life. At the time, I may have been about mid-40s, and I knew if I didn't do something then, I wouldn't see 50. I soon realized that I needed some additional help to help me prepare for the fight for survival. So like I said, the last two attempts ended, and the last one I may have been in my mid-40s. Entering this third program in 2011, which by then I was in my mid-50s, was going to challenge my motives and desires to change my life. Entering this program required patience, determination, and courage. And it was out of desperation that I was able to meet these requirements. There were obstacles I had to navigate that included a 3-week-long waiting period just to be accepted in this program, which I write about in my second book. For an addict looking for help, 3 weeks seems like forever. Now, there were some challenges I had to overcome once I got into this program, which was for 90 days. And even though this program offered all the strategies I mentioned earlier, I still almost quit after 2 weeks. But it was because of the desperation that I mentioned earlier, which came from the passion, the drive, and the determination, which I gave at the beginning of this. I was able to complete the process. The Bible describes the power of addiction as a stronghold. Now, it does not specifically address the problem of drug addiction, because in the Bible, the word stronghold is used to describe someone being controlled or possessed by an unseen and unnatural force. In my first book, The Effective Use of Spiritual Tools, I share some of the ways I was able to combat those unseen forces. Because of that deep down desire to overcome my addiction, an unseen spiritual force began to whisper directions for me to follow. And at some point, it stopped being a whisper. It started to be a loud voice. And because I listened and followed those directions, I was able to get into this treatment program. This would not have happened had I not had a genuine desire to change my life. If someone does not have the desire to overcome their addiction, then no treatment program will help, and nothing I or anyone else can say will encourage them to get help. The desire must come from within. I discovered that the most powerful tool one can use to develop and fuel that desire is prayer. Why do I say this? Because praying to a source of everything steered me in the direction toward finding a treatment center where I could get help for my addiction. I first prayed for the willpower and desire to persevere, because I knew I had to have those two to overcome the obstacles I would face during the process of getting into a treatment program. I prayed for patience once it became obvious that I had to wait before I could enter a program. I also prayed for the courage to complete the process no matter what. These are what I call overcoming abuse tools. They are willpower, desire, patience, and courage. And through the practice of prayer, all of these tools were provided for me. So yes, substance abuse treatment programs work, but as I stated, it all depends upon the methodologies, that involve medication management, medical care, counseling, peer support, relapse prevention strategies, and if necessary, aftercare support. All of these are geared toward the psychological and physical treatments. The type of motivation also impacts the successful completion of a treatment process, and it is a continuous process. At this point, I'm unable to provide statistics on the probability of success in treatment programs because, as I mentioned earlier, there are too many variables. That's why the proper motivation is needed. With that motivation, a person who really wants to be free of the stronghold of addiction will be successful no matter what particular program or how it is structured. Now, there are some good ones out there for anyone who has a desire to break free from the stronghold of abuse of any kind. Start with prayer. I started with prayer. I would recommend also looking at a specific program and their reported outcomes for more accurate information. Look up many programs. I serve as a volunteer for a substance abuse support group located at the Christian Community Center here in Chicago. So for those who live in this area, that's a great place to start. I will provide their information towards the end of this video. The gentleman that runs the program is called Dr. Leo, and what he does is the treatments that he can suggest to you, he also provides aftercare after you have completed a program. So I promise that I will mention him in this video. Again, I'm going to put the address, the telephone number, and a website up where you can reach them. Thank you all again for watching another episode of Overcoming Addiction. Look, substance abuse is a demonic possession, which is why I talk about prayer a lot. Abuse of any kind is a demonic possession, and there are tools that you can use to overcome or address the problem. But without prayer, these tools will not work. Put in the effort. It's going to require desire, motivation, and determination to complete the process. And once you do, I promise, you'll be on a better path of life. Listen, there will still be ups and downs in life, but you will be better prepared to deal with them without the demon of abuse going along for the ride. So don't forget to tune in to the next video on Overcoming Addiction, and I'll see you guys then.